Hi, good morning. This is Bob Metzler from the Gables Club, and I'm going to try to explain my idea for improving our system. Anyway, right now, the problems we are having on the wells, there are cracks in the liner, the original steel liner, allowing dirt, rock to be sucked in and sucked up into the pump, damaging the impeller and stalling the pump, blowing out the pump. The other problem is the wells pull the water in from the aquifer, and this water is warm. One of the reasons it's warm is because when we discharge the water after we go through the building, the discharge well, the aquifer underneath our building is only about 30 to 40 to 50 feet deep or wide. So what happens, this hot water coming back, our own hot water, goes back in and migrates over, and it's sucked up by the pump and repeats the cycle and never really gets cold. By installing French drains, which are essentially leaky pipes underground, 1 or 2 feet underground, the water will slowly drain down into the aquifer and cool off as it's going through. This is not a big deal to put these in. By adding PVC liners on all the wells, plain old PVC pipe, it'll prevent the cracks and dirt and rocks from being sucked in and destroying our pumps. Also, additional filtering to prevent any dirt from getting into that should solve a lot of the problems and could actually keep us going for quite a while. But since our association loves to spend money, here's what we can do to bring us up to date and green. I'm doing this all alone here, so. Alright, anyway, this is my new system. Existing now, the wells draw out water, send it into the 2 heat exchangers in each building. This is Tower 1, but Tower 2 is almost identical. It works the same way. So this supposedly cool water comes out of the wells up in here through the heat exchangers, and then this well water goes back out and it's discharged in the hot water over there. So my idea is to install 2 10,000-gallon insulated double wall storage tanks underground, nobody will see them, and a new heat exchanger number 3, and a chiller system. Now we fill up these storage tanks with water that's between 45 and 65 degrees, and during the day this heat exchanger, because this water is nice and cold, will easily cool the whole building. This water is pumped up into the units, goes through the AC in the unit, comes back down, and it's recycled. Same thing, it's recycled back and through, but it gets hot. This is a closed system, it doesn't touch the well water. So it gets hot because the well water is not cold enough to cool it down. So if there's nice cold water in these 2 10,000-gallon tanks, and we pump that through another heat exchanger, our sealed system in the building never touches it. And now this water is cold because this water in the tanks is very cold. Cool it down, and we could run this between 80 85 degrees to the unit, and everybody's happy. Now, how do we get the water to put into these tanks? We buy a new Train chiller system like they have at 90 Edgewater, but theirs are from 1987, and they're still working great according to Aaron Glasser, the president. Except theirs works a little different. They have a water-cooled chiller, an air-cooled chiller with a cooling tower on the roof. We have the well, so we can supply cooling water to keep the chiller from overheating, and that well water go into the French drains and drain back into the ground. It doesn't cost us anything. Now this chiller, it uses quite a bit of electricity. So during the day when we run these chillers, we can hook it up to our new solar collection system. We build a beautiful walkway over the walkway at the marina right here, going down. And then on top of that walkway, we put new solar cells. There's room out there to do about 6,000 square feet of solar, And if we get adventurous, we can go into the uncompleted area and add more. So now we have the power to run the chiller during the day, and the chiller will supply these tanks. Another pump in the tanks pumps it through heat exchanger number 3, the new one, cools our system in the day, and builds up a banked water supply in these insulated tanks for nighttime use. So at night, the wells can run slowly, one or two of them. They'll have variable speed motors. They'll run slowly, and as the computer senses the temperature rising in here above 85 or so, this pump will kick on and pump this nice cool water through heat exchanger number 3, return back to here. Now, if everything goes well, we should have enough to run through most of the night using this. If we don't, the wells take over and do the rest of the cooling. Early morning hours, it's cooler. So this chiller will only run when there's solar power to power it, so we don't have to spend a lot of electricity because it would use a lot. But free solar power coming in runs this, puts enough water in here to get us through most of the night. During the day, we can set it any temperature we want because this temperature is coming out of here at about 45 degrees. So this 45-degree water will easily chill our closed loop system in the building nice and cold, and it will work pretty good. Now this shows in red, everything in red is new, blue is in the old. These new French drains are essentially leaky PVC pipes, 1 or 2 foot underground, all around the property, and they drain the hot water discharge. Some of it will still go in the wells, but other will go and be dispersed all around. As it's dispersed through here, it takes a while to get down into the aquifer, so it cools off. So our wells will be working with cooler water, number 1. Number 2, they won't be running as hard. They won't have to run all day. So this underground aquifer will cool off, and they'll handle the work at night or on rainy days when we don't have power to run the chillers. So basically it's a closed system inside. That's the same. We don't touch it. We have a new closed system of cooling water consisting of the chiller, the tanks, and another heat exchanger, and that's just closed and recirculates. The cooling water from the well, it's low volume, it's not going to take a lot. We'll run through and keep our chiller warm. Next door they have air powered, which makes noise, but this one running on water doesn't. We can build a beautiful enclosure around it. It won't be very big, probably not as big as I show on there, maybe 10 to 12 feet across. So we can cover it in a beautiful, make it like a pergola, or put a seat around it and pretty it up. And I think we'll spend maybe less than what they plan to spend now, but we'll have a permanent solar system. So when this is not running, we'll have all that solar power to take over in the building to help relieve that $40,000 annual, monthly electricity bill. We don't have to buy any water because this is a closed system. We fill it once and then forget it. Well, you may have to treat it like George treats the water we already have, but I think they do a good job on that. So by doing this, by fixing the wells, I think we can solve all our problems without making any noise outside, without buying millions of gallons of water, without agitating our neighbors because that big cooling tower they want to put in would be over here, and there's about 100 neighboring condos right across the street from it. In fact, that cooling tower would be only 75 feet from our building, and it'd be about the same to all these condo units out here. And those people are not going to be happy. I walked last night down the street over here, and it was nice and quiet. With this cooling tower over here running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, forget the quiet. Forget those neighbors. I don't really want it, and I think this is the way to go. Anyway, I'm Bob Metzler, Unit 6H, Tower 1. My number is 305-458-7883. And I don't mean any offense to any board members. I think they're all intelligent, honest, decent, community-minded individuals. And I have nothing against any of them, except that they voted to put this tower under my balcony, and I don't like that. But let's try and work this out. The engineers can take over, but this is my idea and I'm sure it will work. Thanks for paying attention. Bye.